Ahora, sí. Hello, everyone. This presentation will be in English. I hope it's fine for everyone. First of all, thank you for coming for this session. Today we will speak about the key ingredient of the successful website relaunch. And first, I would like to know if there is anyone who works like a SEO specialist here or online marketing. Please raise your hand. No one. And anyone who works with website relaunch? Okay, good. So then let's start. I will try to explain this in a very simple way in order to everyone, not only online marketing specialists, only developers and programmers could understand the importance of SEO in this process. This a little bit information about me. I'm from Russia, but I've been living in Spain during 7 years already. I feel more like Spanish already than Russian, to be honest. And currently working in 1x Internet. I represent the online marketing department of this company. And let's see what I can show you. Hope this presentation will be useful and everyone can get something new and learn a little bit more about SEO. So why I choose this topic? Because website relaunch is a very complex process, and still there are many companies that underestimate the SEO role in this process. And they put their online visibility at risk. It means that if you don't consider anything regarding SEO, what will probably happen with your website, you will lose your organic visibility. And I will try to explain how to do it in an SEO-friendly way in a 5-phase approach. So first thing is think twice before doing website relaunch. Because any changes you will do will obviously have an impact on your organic visibility. So if the changes are not really significant, please stay with your old website because it has a lot of history and authority, and Google's already crawled your website many times and know how it works. But if the changes are a little bit more big, significant, like you have to move from one CMS to another CMS, or you have to update your CMS, new functionalities, you decided to redesign your website, or structure the content in another way because you understood that your user experience it's not really optimized and you want to change something. So in this case, and of course many different possibilities to relaunch, this is an option how to do it. It's up to you. You can choose your SEO-friendly way, you can choose alternative way, and I will show you the difference. It's a real case study. We got one company that came to us saying, hey, we did the relaunch. As you see, it's in October of 2029. And after the relaunch, they lost a lot of visibility. And like 200% of the visibility was lost, and they didn't know why. And first question we ask is, have you considered before your relaunch something regarding SEO? And they say no. The second example, the case study B, is also a real case study. This client was really lost in his relaunch and say, please do everything you want. Please analyze my website. We will consider everything you tell us. And the result, as you see, the visibility is coming up. It's new case study because, as you see, it was done in April, but still in 1 month, we already got really good results. So how to proceed when you have your website to relaunch? First of all, you have to set real goals. what you want to keep, what you want to improve, and in order to know what you want, you definitely need the first pre-analysis. Then, in 1x Internet, we always use a 5-phased approach. We start with a pre-relaunch analysis, then we go to the step of when the relaunch happens, and the post-relaunch stage is also important. So how to do it without, of course, always there is a possibility that you will lose something. It's impossible to preserve 100% of everything. Relaunch is a tricky process. But if you focus on these 3 SEO pillars, if you analyze your page from technical side, it means everything regarding crawling and indexing. If you analyze your own page, your content, what your best landing pages, what the traffic comes from, what you should preserve, what you can get rid of. And the off-page pillar, it's everything regarding the external help that you get for your website as backlinks, or maybe you are really active in social accounts, everything that doesn't depend on you, but you already kept this value before the relaunch, you obviously will need to keep it. So let's start with the first phase. It's phase number 1, SEO on page, technical side. On this stage, we also recommend use Screaming Frog every time, and if you can configure your API with some external SEO tools, will be great. If not, you can use the tool, whatever you want. But first step will be do the crawl of the whole website and extract all internal crawl data. It means not only HTML pages. Also, if you have a lot of content on PDFs, images, and another type of content that your website contains. Analyze how your website is structured. Maybe the navigation is not really optimized. Maybe you have your really important landing pages really deep inside your website. So in this stage, you have to figure it out. So then, everything regarding indexation and security issues. Of course, Google will not penalize you if you don't have your HTTPS configuration, but it's a ranking factor. If your website is secure, you will have a higher position in Google search results. And everything regarding indexation, like unintentional no-index tag, canonicals that are set wrongly, or maybe you have a lot of broken links, 404 pages. Everything regarding indexation should be considered on the first stage. And you can already communicate with your technical team and say, hey, we have these problems. Could you start looking for some technical solutions? And when your technical team is already involved, you keep analyzing and giving issues to them. For example, you realize that your website is not really speed. So it's also part of technical optimization. Or you have your website, for example, for German market and Switzerland, and the content is in German. So how you explain to Google what website should be shown in search results? So you have to configure the reflang. It will mean that you want the German for Switzerland and German for German. Google will understand it. It's also really important to see if your website has already some structured data. If you already have it, you should keep it. If you don't have it, it's a really good opportunity to consider to have them even before the relaunch. You can put everything on stage version, do a crawl, check if everything is working, and get your website even more optimized after the relaunch. And also as a plus, the sitemap, not all website has really optimized sitemap. Many companies have outdated sitemaps, or 50% of the URLs are in, another are out of the sitemap. So you have to be sure, and it could be done by Drupal. There is a model on Drupal that you can configure it, and it will be automatically created and updated. So on this stage, as I said already, I recommend Screaming Frog with all possible API configurations and the page speed insights if you don't have the API. So you can use it like it's a free Google tool. So then when you understand your current website architecture, you go to the phase number 2 and start to analyze the content. It's really, really significant to know what your best landing pages are, what traffic come from, what are your conversion pages, what your existing search rankings. We also recommend to make a list of all your rankings that you have on their page number 1 Google, because normally people don't go further, maybe page number 2 and 3, no more further. And don't avoid checking also your low-hanging fruits, means your rankings that stay in page number 2 and 3, positions from 11 to 30. Because if you don't keep these rankings, maybe it will not harm your visibility, but you will lose the possibility and your potential that you had before the relaunch. So also, you need to know if your site is already optimized or you need to adjust something. For example, meta text, headings, internal linking, LT text, and the anchor text for internal linking. Everything should be considered on the phase number 2. This is a good opportunity to know if your website has some cannibalization issue. It means that one URL has the same focus keyword that another one. So what happens that they fight between each other in search results. So in order to go a little bit further, if you want to avoid it, the best approach is to create clusters. You have your topic, you know what URLs have content about this topic, and you put it on cluster number 1. You link all your relevant content inside the cluster, and sometimes even possible the cross linking between clusters if, of course, the topic is a little bit relevant. What you should avoid, it's orphan pages. Means that page exists on your CMS, but it somehow doesn't link from any page of your website. So it shouldn't be, it should be considered on this phase and avoided after the relaunch. After the phase number 2, when you already have your list of priority URLs, all your rankings kept, it's up to you what you want to use, maybe spreadsheets, Excel, whatever you feel comfortable. You go to the phase number 3. And here it's important to know if your website, your URLs, has some backlinks. This off-page optimization that doesn't depend on you, because you never know when someone decides to link to your page. And if you lose these links, it's really difficult to come them back. There are different techniques to recover backlinks, but one of them, for example, is to reach webmasters and say, hey, I had backlinks pointing to my site, please can you replace, because I changed the CMS or I redesigned my website, and normally you will get no response. Nobody will care about your links. But if you add in your email, for example, reaching to webmaster saying, look, this page doesn't exist anymore, you will point into this page, and it's probably that now on your website you have broken links, 404. You are pointing to the page that doesn't exist anymore. And maybe in this case, you will get the answer. Or maybe the answer not, but the link will be replaced. So it's also good to know if you have some toxic backlinks on your website. There are a lot of tools We use Systrix, for example. You upload your sitemap or just scroll your website, and you see all external websites that are pointing to yours and the toxicity level. If you decide that you have a lot of spammy links, or you don't even need them because you don't understand why, for example, one person from the forum linked to your page and this link is not relevant for you. So you can make the list of these toxic or unnecessary links and upload to Google Search Console in disavow tools and let Google know that please don't count with these backlinks. Okay. After you understand what's the problems of your website, your weak and strong points, then the priority URLs you want to keep, the URLs with backlinks you want to keep. So you have to make sure that everything will appear in your stage version. So in this phase, it's really difficult because technical team, of course, will be do migration, all this technical stuff, but if you will not involve the SEO person, the technical team doesn't know what exactly the content should look like, or what's your focus keyword, how content should be structured inside the URL. So it's really recommendable to keep your SEO person through all this phased approach. So after you made sure that everything is in place, please set the redirect. It should be 301 redirect, because 301 permanent redirect pass the whole, okay, maybe not 100%, but 95% of all the link power to the redirected URL. And we also recommend to set 404 custom page, not avoid redirect to the front page, for example, because it will count like a soft 404, and it's really doesn't like let your users how to say it, sorry, it doesn't let your users follow the content and get more and more interesting, because it's like a front page and your user will ask what I'm gonna do with your front page. Try to customize your 404 and maybe link to the relevant content or somehow similar content. So in this stage, it's when your SEO specialist should give you a green light saying we're ready for relaunch and everything is in place. During the implementation, what should be avoided is a redirect chain. You can use a screaming frog to check if you have some chains, or the redirectionator. It's really a useful and free tool. It's available for everyone in internet. And as I said, if you implement 301, you will preserve a lot of SEO values. And what you should avoid is this one. The redirect chain, it means URL A pass through URL B, and finally land on URL C. What will happen here, imagine that your URL A has 100% of SEO value, and through each redirect it will lose 5%. So then your URL C will get only 90%. In order to keep as much as possible SEO value, what you should do is update your URL chain. Point from URL A to URL C, and from URL B to URL C. Oh, and now, the time of relaunch. And please be sure that you don't do it on Friday. It's really a mistake of all our clients that have also like somehow deadlines, and they say, okay, we have to do it on Friday and we don't gonna move it on Monday, for example. And you have to explain that if you do it on Friday and you end your week and you're happy and you go home, and if something is broken, nobody is here to fix it. You have to wait at least until Monday. So the best way is to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday and start in the morning time, like 9 or 10, so you have the whole day if something is going like shouldn't. And the final stage, it's a monitoring stage, where you have to crawl your new website to see if all your redirects 301 are in place, that you created automatically or manually, it's up to you, the sitemap. Also, please check your robots.txt, because it happens sometimes that you block the crawling of your website through robots.txt commands, and Google just cannot find your new website. That's why it doesn't appear in search results. And on this stage is when the SEO person should be involved at least for 4 weeks, monitoring Google Search Console and Google Analytics, how the traffic and organic visibility is going. And also it's time to check again your page speed and sites, because you decided to improve it. Normally when you move to the beta CMS, for example, if you obviously move from WordPress to Drupal, it's more quicker CMS, and your page speed and sites problems that you had before could be solved like automatically. But sometimes, you know, clients want to add more and more functionalities, cool stuff to the websites that makes it slower. So you have to check it and say, look, now it's better or worse, and we're going to fix it because you implemented this and this, and it doesn't work. And on final stage, I would recommend to use as much tools as you know. In our company, we use always Screaming Frog. For me, it's one of the best SEO tool for online marketing. And some of the SEO tools that, of course, you need paid version to get access to all the functionalities of the tool. But I checked and did a lot of relaunches with Systrix, so I really recommend it. And the conclusion and the key ingredient of our website relaunch is really clear goals. You need to know what you want to preserve, what you want to get rid of, what you want to fix, what you want to improve. If you don't set these goals, it will be impossible even to monitor how your website is performing, how it was before, if it's getting better, is it getting worse. So please remember that prevention is always better than a cure. So let's plan it properly and don't lose any organic visibility. Oh, how much time I spent. Thank you.
Thanks, Irina. Question, I have multiple small questions. Like SF API, what was it standing for? You had a lot of times SF API.
It's Screaming Frog API.
Screaming Frog API.
Yeah,
okay.
Because Screaming Frog, you can configure it, for example, with Systrix or another SEO tool, and you automatically get data, pull data from external tools. You don't need to look at manually, I want this URL to know how many traffic it has or how many rankings and what are keywords. If you configure it with Screaming Frog, you will just download the Excel with all this information already inside. But it's also only possible on paid version. The free version, it's not available.
Another thing, I mean, you probably worked in Drupal cases. Did you have any like weird cases with canonicals in Drupal? Can you tell a little bit about this? Because I always have problems with this.
Maybe if you specify your problems, because in my experience, when I check websites, I always find errors, but from the client side, that they don't understand how to use canonicals. They put or don't put any canonicals, or they have a lot of duplicate content because they don't put self-referencing canonicals on the most important URLs. So in this case, yes, I found a lot of examples, but
I'll give you an example. So there's a view and it has 100 results. A page has 10 results. Should each separate page be its own canonical? Some sites are saying you should canonicalize all page results to one view which has all the results. It's better than to have page 1, page 2, page 3, each of them canonical. And I did vice versa. I just canonicalized each page separately.
it depends, because what canonical does, it prevents duplicate content. If you have multiple URLs with similar or exactly the same topic, you will have to choose one URL, put self-referencing canonical on it, like the main page, and other URLs you have to canonicalize to your main URL. So in this case, yes, but if you have absolutely different topics, you don't have to canonicalize it to anywhere. It's better and recommendable to put self-referencing canonical. Just saying, look, this topic is like unique on my website, and please show it in search results. But in case of duplicate content, yes, you have to canonicalize it.
All right, and another question. If, for example, you have, I don't know, your website has 1,000 pages, let's say, and you have production, you're doing all these fancy things on the dev. How do you know if it's if you will? In my case, I only know if I will get 400 fours if I put it, and then Drupal or Google is like, hey, where's the page? And can we do this check somehow on the dev without posting it to production and then finding out where are missing pages? Can we just somehow scan the dev and prepare 100% there will be no 404s there?
But before each relaunch, you have to crawl your page, and it's when you will see if you have 404, or it doesn't matter where it states. Like you can crawl your production already live page, or your stage, or your test. Depends how many steps you have in between. So, but also before you like push the button, you have to do the crawl to see if you have some errors like 404.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for everything, first of all. And I have basically just one question. We had a similar case that you were saying before. We just migrate a huge website to a new one. We try to keep the URL exactly the same, just to not break the SEO, but we fail. Because after that, we were checking the SEO, and it was like very bad. So I think that Google is like showing the older links, and it's not refreshing. There is like a way to refresh, to force the refresh, and telling, okay, well, this is my new link and not the older. So.
Yeah, it's easy to do actually, because the second day of your relaunch, what you have to do is upload your new sitemap to the Google Search Console, and all your important pages, you have to ask for the reindexation, but manually. Say, look, I need this page to be recrawled as soon as possible. And you go one by one, but not for the whole content, just your URLs that are really like get traffic from organic search, and the sitemap it's like.
In any ways, if we change the URL, we are still losing the percentage, no, the 5% you were mentioning. So there is not other way to do that, right? Like just redirecting to 301. And that's all. You know?
Yeah, exactly. You have to use 301, but you will never be sure that it will be 100%. It will be so at least 95, from 95 and more.
Okay. So there is no way to improve that thing later, no? Like, because I'm not SEO specialist, but well, we are trying to improve the the ranking, let's say. So if we have that redirection all the time, it's like, is it gonna get the same punctuation or something like that? No?
But do you optimize your website, or it was optimized before?
Yeah, we tried to optimize, but we did the opposite.
So it means that the analysis was made wrong, because if you really know your keywords and you analyze your competitors, their behavior in search results, it obviously couldn't be like going down. If it's going down, you have to check what's going on with your website. Maybe you set no index tag on all your pages, and that's why Google cannot find these pages.
Yeah.
So you have to do the crawl of the whole website and see from the indexation to the content where is the problem.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello. For small companies, maybe entrepreneurs, websites that doesn't have enough money to pay for a SEO consultant, which things they should take a look at it for have a better understanding about his visualization. Sorry about my English, but I don't know. Do you understand?
Yeah, you mean what you should?
Yeah,
like
which are the most important things that they have to take a look at it?
First of all, it's all indexation singing. That there is no errors, there is no canonicals or unintentional robot.txt and stuff like that. And then the content. What are your important URLs? Because maybe you have the website with 1,000 URLs, and from 1,000 only 10 are getting traffic to your website. So you will have to take care only of these 10. And another one, just if you want to redirect it, and if you want to get rid of them, just up to you. It should be like decided by the client what really content they want to migrate. And you have to say, look, if you don't want this URL, it's important for you, but you have to decide. I warn you that it's important, but if you don't want, we have also clients like that they say, we don't need this content anymore. But we say, but you get a lot of organic traffic from this URL. But sometimes, you know, the battle is really tricky with the clients.
Thank you.
I mean, it's SEO related, but it's not migration related. Do you, or maybe relaunch related as well. But did you have any weird cases for like AMP pages when you were migrating, or you had this specifically accelerated Google pages? AMP, you know, AMP SEO pages, which are like a simplified page for Google for search results. Did you have any issues when you were relaunching the website with these pages, or Google was just like using them normally?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
I mean, the one we have to. I mean, if you want your search results to be like really well promoted by Google itself,
yes,
you have to implement AMP.
Yes.
So did you have any like bad experiences when you were relaunching with AMP?
Yeah, but normally when you have your paid advertising, you don't have content of your website. You create landing pages, because normally your content on your like current website has a lot of information, and for paid goals you need something clear and short, just to catch the attention of this user. That's why you use landing pages that has nothing to do with your website. But if you use your URL, for example, for the paid ads that are linking to your like website, real website, and you redirect with 301, you just need to update the link that you used before. just to prevent redirect chain. If you don't want, you stay with this link because it will be redirected via 301. But it's always better to prevent these chains. So just update the link.
Thanks.
No more questions? Thank you very much.